Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.
Todd
Levitt. Todd Levitt.
Todd and Craig, good to hear you guys.
Todd Levitt.
This is Attorney Todd L. Levitt.
Honestly, you could not be any more spot on.
Now, from the Black Diamond Group mothership in the studios of 98.5 UPS, the Todd L. Levitt Law Show.
Welcome to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Good morning, good evening, and good night. I'm yours truly, Attorney Todd L. Levitt, broadcasting and podcasting in the middle of Midtown in the Black Diamond Group mothership in a beautiful green nutrient field with my good friend Craig Russell, the muscle, the dankiest, gassiest, dank human I know on planet Earth. Last week, he was the nose guard for the Philadelphia Eagles as they beat the Super Bowl champs, Kansas City Chiefs. And the water's wet, the sky is blue. Happy post-Thanksgiving to one and all, and especially you, Craig Russell, the muscle, the hustle. How you doing, Craig?
You know, it's amazing that you make that up on the spot. You don't ever script any of that stuff out, and it always seems to rhyme. I don't get it.
It truly is scripted. I mean, we could say that and the audience will never know it, but... No. Truth be told, it is not scripted. I literally don't even know, folks, what I'm going to say. I mean, some of the stuff I do, Craig Russell, the muscle, the hustle. Sure. And we've extended it over the years.
Yes, because remember, it used to be the water's wet, the sky is blue, and Craig Russell, we love you. Now it's gotten its own mind of its own.
We do love you, Craig.
Well, okay, that's nice. Hey, Todd, how are you?
I'm doing absolutely, unequivocally amazing. Post-Thanksgiving, it's... Depending upon where you're listening to the show around the world, sometimes it's on podcast prior to airing live on the radio, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
So if you live in the States, it was Thanksgiving this week.
Yes.
And so everybody's traveling, heading home. If you're traveling, listening to 98.5 WUPS, please drive careful and wear your seatbelt and pay attention to the road. Do not text and drive.
And don't eat turkey before you drive because you'll fall asleep while you're driving. That's a bad idea.
Truth to that, by the way?
Well, there's the tryptophan in turkey, which makes you sleepy, and that could.
So does indica. Don't.
That's true.
Don't participate in any indica before you operate a motor vehicle or any machinery, for that matter.
Did you guys do a big turkey spread for the holidays with the family?
We did, and we stuffed it with some sativa during the day, and for dessert we had some indica, and we fell asleep. Good night, everybody, and thank you for coming. Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was good. I mean, it was sort of mellow this year.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that, absolutely. But Craig, before we get to all that bantering back and forth, who do we open up the show with today, Craig?
Well, that was the legendary band U2 out of Dublin, Ireland. U2, great song, great guitar riff in that one. You love that song.
Two hearts beat as one.
Yes.
I loved U2 when they first came out with that song and New Year's Day.
Sunday Bloody Sunday.
Yeah.
A lot of their early stuff.
What happened? I mean, I love U2, but the early stuff. I love that early stuff.
You know what? This is something I've learned about being in the music business and in the radio business for a long time. After a while, sometimes I think people start to believe their own crap. and there's another word for it, but I'm just going to say crap. And, they get a big head. And I think that's kind of what happened to U2. The music kind of changed, and I think they started to believe their own BS, that they were fantastic and wonderful and the greatest band in the world. And some people can handle that. I don't think they did very well. And so their music changed after a while. Got real political and everything.
Yeah. Metallica, which we talked about last week that I saw at Ford Field.
Yeah.
I watched over the past week. There was 2000. I think it came out in 2014 or 2012, 14. The documentary. They almost broke up.
Yeah.
In 2000, was it 2002? They almost broke up.
It was something like early 2000s.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, so I watched that. But yeah, they were really close to breaking up, and it's 20 years since that took place, and they're just better than ever.
Well, you know what? After a while,
I love Metallica. New, middle, old, load, reload, Black Album, the early stuff, the first albums. I love it. I love everything about Metallica.
Well, I think they realized that they were going to make a lot more money together than they would apart, and so there you go.
But
Todd.
Craig, I know we opened up with U2. What did I really want to play? Well, a song that you never came across your noggin, did it?
I never heard of this song before. You messaged it to me earlier this week and said, this is what I really want to open the show with.
Haven't you ever watched Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs?
Yeah. Yep, I've seen
Well, where do you think the theme song came from?
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Faith No More, without further ado, right? I mean, you're the DJ. That's your job. What would you say?
Faith No More. Without further ado, here's Faith No More with...
We Care a Lot.
We Care a Lot, yes.
We care a lot.
That they did the theme to Dirty Jobs. I didn't know that.
Well, they didn't write this for Dirty Jobs.
No.
Mike Rowe's fantastic.
Yeah, I like Mike Rowe. He's pretty
But I believe they play this. I mean, I used to watch him all the time. I love Mike Rowe.
Yeah, so that's the song you really wanted to open with.
Yeah, I like that
Faith
song
No More.
a lot.
See, I remember,
then I had... Go ahead.
Oh, I remember Epic, the song Epic from them. You remember them? Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Do, 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 where you're standing in the rain and everything in the video. Yeah, I remember that.
Nobody hums better than you, by the way.
I wasn't even humming there.
I don't know what that was. Craig, I have a big announcement.
What's that, Todd?
Well, we are a Law Show, post-Thanksgiving, 2023. Yes. Big shout-out to everybody out there. And we are a Law Show, and we do have some law to get to. And
yes.
The handsome and talented attorney Mike Nichols is coming on the show here shortly.
Okay.
So we'll be talking to the Nick, 100%. Nick is coming on the show, so stay tuned. I'm finally over the penny. I'm not trying to be funny, but last week I had a moment. I'm in my office, and I dropped a penny on the floor, and I was thinking to myself, how often do you really take a penny and use a penny for anything? I mean, it's very you get a penny back from a store all the time.
Sure.
Because they'll charge you, $3.39 or whatever the charge is. They can never round it up. I don't know why stores just don't round it up, make it an even number, and I'm done with the penny. I have so many pennies lying around. They're either in my pocket, in my truck, in the couch, on the floor, in a drawer. I don't understand. I'm over the penny, and I'm just saying, Craig. Think about it. So many of us are over the penny that you go to a retail store, you don't even want the penny. You leave it there for somebody else. Am I right?
It's true. It's
What's up
true.
with we don't need the penny. We need the quarter. We need the quarter. The dime is so tiny that it gets lost or it falls into a crack. The nickel, okay, but the penny? I don't know. Are they still making pennies?
Oh, yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, no, seriously. They still make pennies.
How do you, let's be honest. Let's have a serious conversation.
Okay.
When was the last time you used a penny?
Probably about a week ago.
For what?
I had some change, and I just had it sit in my pocket, and I was able to use it to pay for, I think, a pack of gum or something like that. But, yep.
What are you talking about? Come on, Craig.
What am I talking about?
It's a made-up story for the
No,
show.
it's not. Not at all.
You know, who pays? Why do you use a penny to pay for a pack of gum? A pack of gum is what? $1.30?
It was like
$1.29.
It was like $1.62 or something with tax, and I used 2 pennies to pay for.
Okay, they need to round that up to $1.65. The penny
they
was
didn't.
so popular. I had a babysitter named Penny at one time,
That's true.
and then Pennywise that ruined it. That ruined
Yeah.
the penny. Nobody named their daughter Penny after that came out with the clown Pennywise, right?
Penny Lane by the Beatles. That's a popular.
Penny
song.
Lane.
Yeah.
But look, I'm not even joking. I'm over the penny. It's annoyed me. It's on the floor. It takes up too much space. Round it up, folks. I'm done with the penny. So there you go.
I'll take your pennies off your hand, man. Pennies are money.
I don't have any pennies because I don't want any pennies. I leave my pennies at the penny thing at the gas station where you can leave a penny. I don't want a penny. If anybody out there in Mount Pleasant, Michigan knows me and I come to your retail establishment and you owe me 2 cents, keep the 2 cents. I'm over it. And maybe businesses do that. It used to be back in the day when Blockbuster, was a store. They charged everybody $3.99 or whatever for a video. It was always $3.99. Do you know how many of those pennies people said, here's $4 or $5. Keep the penny.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Think about that.
I'm sure.
It's like when you go to the gas pump and you pump gas, you never get all that gasoline. Once you grab the handle and you pull it out of your truck or car or vehicle, I'm a gas guy. I love gas. Fossil fuel there. Think about if you actually grab the rubber or whatever the gas comes through to the handle, there will be a few droplets there. Somebody who was in the gas industry told me that years ago, and it made sense. I'm thinking, you know what? That's right. You go to pump gas, it spills out onto the cement. The gas not spills, but it drips. You don't get everything you're paying for at the gas pump.
That's true. True.
Is that a good point?
No, that's true. I do that all the time. When I get done actually pumping the gas, I'll let it sit there and kind of, the little bit of residual that comes out, I let it go into the tank and then pull it out. I'll wait a couple of seconds because I want to get that extra little bit too. Get my money's worth.
Exactly. So,
but I'll take your pennies. I'll take your pennies, man. They're money.
I don't have any pennies. I'm just saying,
adding those up.
I'm over the penny, folks. And don't drop. Years ago, when I would talk about stuff on the show, soap detergent or this or that, people would drop it off in my office. Watch next week. There's like $100 worth of pennies at the store. But people do get upset and they get peed off and they pay for stuff in pennies.
Yes, they do.
That, right?
Yeah.
Craig,
I thought I saw a story about a couple who tried to pay like a car payment or something with $9,000 worth of pennies and the bank wouldn't take it. That stuff was crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. But post-Thanksgiving on a Todd Levitt Law Show, we do have some law to get to. I crossed out of the United States into the great country of Canada from our great country. Yeah, last week. Remember I texted you a picture? So my buddy Jan, as I mentioned on shows past, owns Belarusian Bike and Ski in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario.
Right on.
Canada, right there at 12 Fish Hatchery Road. If anybody is listening to the show and you are in the great state of Superior, God's country, Michigan's Upper Peninsula, or you're traveling through, or you are from Ontario, make your way to Belarusian. This is not a commercial. I'm telling you right now, Bike and Ski. Right there, just put it in your MapQuest. Let Jan know that you heard it right here on the show, but they're amazing. They do financing, bike and ski services, the clothing line they have year round, cross country ski, snowshoeing, mountain bike, fat bike, you name it. They are the place in Ontario. So make your way to Belarusian. The Hiawatha single track is right up the road from Belarusian. Also at Belarusian, there's Eric, and there's Jill, my buddy Joel, Jack. Such a great staff, so knowledgeable. You get shoes, socks, gloves, everything. And for all those outdoor activities, and they do all kinds of online booking, and so check out Velarusian right there in Ontario, Craig. But my buddy Jan called me up last week. He knew I was going to be in the Upper Peninsula once again and said, "Hey Todd, it's opening day in Michigan, and and he knows I stay off the state trails. We've talked about it.
Sure."
He said up here we have an amazing bike course that we have hunting up here, of course. Canada, great hunting, fishing, everything, elk, everything, you name it. It's a Hiawatha Highlands mountain bike trail, Craig. Hiawatha Highlands mountain bike trail. No hunting. It's a conservancy. A lot of hiking, a lot of families. But yeah, we shredded the gnar. My buddy Brian, I hung out with my buddy Brian. I met him through Jan. He was on the trails, and Brian took me around the entire trail system. Thank you so much, Brian, from the Sioux. His dad's an attorney up there, great attorney in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. But Brian was awesome. That's one thing about biking. You're always helping one another out. I can't tell you how often I'll be at the Dragon, somebody from out of state or somewhere close by, first time on the trail, and I offer to take them through, show them, the course, where it turns, the ups and downs, the berms, the bumps. So Brian did that for me, and I followed him throughout the course. It was great. Anyhow, Craig, I deviate. We are a Law Show.
Yes.
Happy post-Thanksgiving, Craig. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let you do the rest of the talking with Mike Nichols on the rest of the show right here.
I'm sure you are.
Where were you last week? Were you in Canada?
I was not in Canada last week.
Come on, Craig. Yes, you were.
No, I was not. I was at home last week. Come on,
man.
Come on.
Craig, people love you, by the way.
Yeah, I've heard that occasionally, and I appreciate it very much.
And if they don't, it sure sounds like the right thing to say, doesn't it?
Yeah, they can fake it really well.
Little John loves you.
Hey! Little John.
There you go.
Little John.
Should we go to break?
We will take a break, and when we come back, we'll have Mike the Nick Nichols on the Todd Levitt Law Show. Welcome back to the Todd Levitt Law Show. Two hearts beat as one. That song refers to you and I, Craig Russell. We are two beating as one, doing the show of all shows here post Thanksgiving Day, and Michigan, Ohio State. Yeah.
What a game.
Big game. Big game.
Huge game.
Big game. Hey, speaking of Thanksgiving, and I was going to ask you this off the air, but I'll ask it to you now on the air. You guys did Thanksgiving dinner and everything. What's your least favorite Thanksgiving side dish?
Can it be a main dish?
It can be whatever you want it to be.
Okay, this is going to be a shocker.
Okay.
Turkey.
You don't like turkey?
No, I like turkey. I just can't eat it that way. I don't know if it's texture. I can have sliced, like shaved turkey. So go to the deli and say, hey, give me a pound of, mesquite or smoked turkey.
Sure.
But shave it falling off thin. I just have an issue with chicken and turkey. Isn't that weird?
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, honest to God. Oh, yeah, give me cranberries, stuffing, mashed potatoes, ham. I don't care what it is. The turkey, I can eat turkey, but it has to be shaved thin. How about you?
Right. Me, my least favorite, and this is such a bummer. My mom.
Isn't that crazy I said that?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
But I eat turkey. I just can't have it like that.
You don't have sliced turkey off of a turkey breast.
So the family growing up would go to the deli and give me shaved. It was so weird eating with the family. You should have seen it. It was crazy.
I bet it was.
What's yours?
For me, and for my mom, God rest her soul, she used to make green bean casserole, and I hate green bean casserole.
I love green bean casserole.
Can't stand green beans. Don't like green beans.
How about peas and peanuts?
I like peas, but not with peanuts.
How about chocolate and peanut, otherwise known as a Reese's?
Oh, yeah. Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
What a great invention. Chocolate and peanut butter.
I know. No kidding.
Remember the commercials where they used to, I mean, we're old enough to remember this. What was it?
Where it used to, you got your peanut butter in my chocolate. You've got your chocolate in my peanut butter. Two great tastes that taste great together.
Do you like mixing chocolate or M&Ms in your bucket of popcorn at the movies?
No.
No, can't do that?
No.
Because the chocolate melts at the bottom, and then by the time you get to the bottom, you've got chocolate all over your hand.
I like mixing popcorn kind. You know, like have you ever had like regular popcorn and like cheese and caramel all mixed together? I like that.
No, I haven't done that yet.
Oh, that's good stuff.
No.
Good stuff.
But I can tell you what I do like to mix.
What's that?
Law with the Law Show. How's that for a segue? Hey, big shout out to one of my favorite lawyers, attorney Jeff Rettig.
Okay.
Happy anniversary. He celebrated an anniversary of so many years practice in law. Jeff is one of my favorite humans, just one of the smartest guys I know. Midland prosecutor, defense attorney. Big shout out to my dear friend, JKR, Jeff Rettig. 34 years practice in law anniversary this past week. So
Congratulations, Jeff.
But let's talk about, before the Nick comes on, a little bit of law.
Yeah, let's do that.
This past week, big shout out to Circuit Court Judge Thompson in Benzie County, Missoula, Michigan, over by Frankfort, Michigan, which is right along Lake Michigan, folks.
Right.
For those of you living somewhere else on planet Earth. I appealed. So I had a young lady, literally a young lady, contact my office. She was convicted of a third offense, OWI, operating while intoxicated. And as a result, the state of Michigan revoked her ability to operate a motor vehicle for a period of 5 years. If you get 3 offenses under the Motor Vehicle Code within a 10-year period, the state of Michigan is going to indefinitely suspend your ability, revoke your ability to drive. After 5 years, you become eligible to apply for restrictions.
Okay.
We talk about this often, ignition interlock bump. But in her case, she entered into, and I did not represent her, but she entered into the Manistee area sobriety court program.
Okay.
After a period of time, yes, her license was revoked, but due to the program and the statute and the policy out of the Capitol, it is the one time that the court has the ability to seek a restricted license to circumvent the law, and the client or the individual can operate a motor vehicle on restrictions with an ignition interlock device.
Okay.
And this young lady successfully graduated sobriety court, and during that time period was granted restricted privileges. She was attending a funeral, and she came out to start her vehicle, and the battery had died. Or she didn't know what it was, whether it was the starter or the battery or whatnot. She wasn't very mechanical. The battery had died. So she had to jump it. Now, in the eyes of the state of Michigan, they consider this a tamper circumvent, a tampering and circumvent, meaning the definition under the administrative rule is that not that your battery just died because it died because of your car or there was a mechanical issue, but that somebody physically tried to do something nefarious. It had intent to deceive the device and sort of circumvent it. So they tried tampering and circumventing with the machine, therefore disconnecting the battery or the starter or the electrical system in the vehicle. That was the intent of the tamper circumvent. Well, often 9 out of 10, if not 10 out of 10 times now, an individual, it's not their fault, their battery fails, and the state gets notified through the device and the installer when there is a download that there was a tamper circumvent. And the state will send you a letter placing you back on the original denied and revocation. In this case, the lady was on a restricted sobriety court license. And because her battery died, the state, okay, you tamper circumvent. Now you got to come in and explain why you did that or why that happened. And you would think that you're innocent until proven guilty, but in this case, she appears before a hearing officer with the state of Michigan. And by the way, this particular hearing officer, because of my complaint years back, no longer will hear my cases. Thank goodness. I would not have any part of it. I just don't feel that this individual should be working in his capacity for the state of Michigan. And I complain at the highest level. Willing to, fall on the sword on behalf of the people, and they took him off my docket. So every time I have a hearing, he doesn't hear my cases. But in this case, this young lady appeared before this individual by herself. And now recall, Craig, she's on a sobriety court restricted license. She's at a funeral, the battery dies. The state, once again, places her on mandatory revocation and denial. Within 14 days of receiving that notice, she applies for a hearing. She appears before this individual. She goes to the hearing, and the hearing officer sees that she had proof that the battery died. There was no sign of alcohol usage, nothing that she had intended to do wrong. She was sitting in her vehicle. So she's conducting the hearing using her cell phone with the hearing officer. Well, the hearing officer said to her, your license is currently revoked. And she says, she didn't know that. She had no idea when the state sent her this notice how to interpret it. She didn't have a lawyer. She went through sobriety court. She didn't have the benefit of someone like me assisting her through the process because she went through sobriety court.
Right.
This poor young lady thought, okay, well, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to be driving. And most lawyers can't even interpret these letters from the state of Michigan with all the codes and the statutes and administrative rules. So what happens, the hearing officer says, okay, well, I see you didn't do anything wrong with the battery. I'm going to review everything, make a decision. So he penalized her. He didn't put her back. Not only did he not put her back on her sobriety court restricted license, but he indicated that she should not have been driving and that, she should be penalized. And so he basically sat as a witness, which he's not supposed to do, against her. He acted as a prosecutor, a judge, and a jury, and he penalized her. And again, think about this. The reason why she was there to begin with was because a battery issued, which he cleared her on.
Right.
So that is what the rules say. She did nothing wrong. He's supposed to put her back unrestricted. Instead of doing that, he was on his high horse, and he hurt this young lady who's fighting depression. She said she was bipolar. She has, fighting alcoholism, and she's sober right now, and she's taking her medication. She goes before this guy who's a state employee. He's an attorney, and he penalizes her for something that he had no authority to do because of the way the law is written, and she's under a 5-year mandatory revocation. It put her out to 2028 before she was going to be able to apply for restrictions again, 2028. Jeez. So not only did she successfully complete sobriety court, she's still going to, relapse prevention program. She's taking her medication. She's working hard. She's a young lady. She's a mother. She's a wife. She goes before this one guy, and this is what he does. So she contacts my office, and I don't take all these cases. I'm very particular on which cases I will and will not take. Sure. I don't take every case. I turn away 9 out of 10. I look at the order from this guy, and I was furious. I mean, furious. I said, this guy had no authority to judge you on that date and time, in what he ruled. In any event, I appealed in front of Judge Thompson, Circuit Court, over there in Beulah, Michigan, Benzie County. And the judge and the prosecutor, David, Sarah, does a great job, so does David. Judge Thompson, great judge, great attorney. Everybody agreed with my argument, and it's appalling. And it just goes to show you there's no checks and balances. I am the check and balances for that type of situation, which is wrong. So the fact that here you have an employee with a particular state, a lawyer who has that much control over somebody's life, but for her finding the right attorney who knew how to circumvent the law and fight for her rights, the judge put her back on the road. She's driving now.
Good.
And she's still driving for 5 years, but in 2026, her 5 years will be up as opposed to 2028. But this guy gave her no credit whatsoever for anything, didn't even rule on why she was there to begin with. And he goes on his high horse and thinks he's, a police officer, a prosecutor, and says, well, you're not supposed to be driving. That's not his call. And he was a witness against her in his own prosecution. And the real prosecutor in the county in which I appealed to agreed with the circuit court judge. And folks, the circuit court judge does have jurisdiction under the statute, 257, 625, and other 625, 622. So there's all kinds of motor vehicle codes. But he had jurisdiction to override that part of the state of Michigan, that determination. You can appeal to a circuit court judge. So we did that, and we were so happy, and the right thing was done. But it just really peed me off. I mean, when I read that order, it's like, who the heck does this guy think he is?
Well, he obviously didn't know who Todd Levitt is because he tried to take you on.
Well, no, my point is,
I know.
There's too many of the, we've talked about this show after show. I'm fighting and advocating for the rights of the people against the system. And too often, and I only specialize in like 2 areas of law. And so my point is, what about all the people out there who contact an attorney who takes on a case just to make money, doesn't know what he or she is doing, or there's not an attorney in that jurisdiction, no matter what state or country you live in, that specializes in the area in which you require services, and as a result, bad things happen. So make sure if you're going to hire a lawyer, you're hiring the right lawyer. And another thing that really pees me off, hire local lawyers. Just because you see over and over and over and over and over and over. I mean, I could say that about my commercials because I run licensed restoration commercials, but I'm one of the few attorneys that actually specialized it to the highest level. That's different. You see these medical malpractice and personal injury lawyers that flood the airwaves, our TVs, our cable, our satellites, and they're great lawyers. I know all of them. But you have great local lawyers, folks, in your communities.
That's right.
So if you live in Isabella County, hire Joe Barberry. Pat Richards. Hire Jeff Lynch. Hire somebody from the community. If you live to the north, J Trucks and Associates. These are great lawyers. Mike Nichols and Wendy Nichols in East Lansing. You don't have to hire a lawyer just because you're familiar with them on a TV station.
That's right.
Again, am I a hypocrite, Craig, because I run radio commercials?
No,
but
not
again,
at all. No.
There's only a few of us, like licensed restoration specialists, as opposed to there's thousands of PI lawyers and thousands of medical malpractice lawyers.
Well, and here's the other part of this, too. All those 1-800 numbers you'll see on TV and stuff, if you call that, you're never going to talk to the people you see on the TV screen. If people call your number, they're going to talk to you.
But again, in fairness, too, and I'll just say the names, call Sam. I know some lawyers that work there. They do a great job. I actually know Lee Steinberg, and he's a great guy. So is Eric. These are great guys. I mean, these are great people. They're great lawyers that work for them, and there's nothing wrong. Yes, if you contact them, they'll do a great job. But so will the lawyers in your community. Yep. Just like going to local mom and pop businesses, support the businesses in your county and cities and villages who go to school with your kids. They play cards with your parents. Support local businesses, especially the mom and pops, especially the veteran-owned businesses. If there's a vet who owns a business, that's the first place I'm going, period.
And yesterday was Small Business Saturday, so hopefully you helped out some small businesses in our community. And
always.
Did your thing. Yeah, do your thing. Somebody who agrees with you 120% with all of that?
Who's that?
Mike the Nick Nichols. That's who.
We finally got him in the studio.
I think we've got him. Mike the Nick Nichols, you there?
Good evening.
Hey, he's
there. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
He's there. He's in the house.
Mike, did you hear my dissertation oration on the fact that hire lawyers and businesses in your community? I mentioned you and Wendy. There's so many great lawyers just because you see on TV over and over, there's just as great lawyers who will do just as good, if not better, same job as lawyers that you see on TV.
Despite my best efforts to tune it out, yes, I absorbed every single syllable of every single word from you, Todd. Yes.
Thank you.
And, I don't disagree, my friend. I don't disagree.
I mean, you are, I say it time and time again, Wendy Nichols, attorney at law, Mike Nichols, attorney at law, two of the smartest lawyers I know. Do I not refer cases to you every week, Mike, truly?
You do. You referred a couple this week that
I did.
I'll follow up with you on. I'm not only in the house, I'm in my house in the music room / study where Wendy, I had to find room for the laptop because she's got all the ICL, Institute for Continuing Legal Education. Shorthand is ICL. She did the Personal Injury Institute 2 weeks ago and then the Family Law Institute last week. And she's got all the books out and all the materials. And she literally said just 20 minutes ago, hey, let's not go to the cottage. I've got so much of this stuff I got to catch up on from going to those seminars and just getting my brain around the latest developments in those two particular practice areas. And I said, okay, I'm good with it.
Yeah, we can when you have the Honorable Wendy Nichols on the show to talk about family law and some of the stuff she does. I mean, Mike, we love you. You're brilliant. But Wendy's the boss, and we'd love to have Wendy on. And by the way, happy post-Thanksgiving to you, Morgan, and the entire family.
Yes, and happy post-Thanksgiving to all of you. Wendy is getting her workout in as we speak because she had a long day in the office. I don't think she moved from her office all day. She was hammering it.
And tell the listeners who are traveling for the first time listening to the show of all shows, you are attorney Mike Nichols of Nichols Law Firm, East Lansing, Michigan, along with your wife, attorney Wendy Nichols. You are statewide, the best of the best. That's what I was talking about a few moments ago, folks. Mike, please give out your phone number if somebody's interested in representation. And what kind of law does your firm practice?
Sir, it's 517-432-9000, 517-432-9000. And Wendy is a denizen of all things personal injury, which, would be like if you're in a bad car crash or if you're bitten by a dog or attacked by a dog or someone. And I also I'm kind of known for doing drunk driving, but we have a really super good criminal defense attorney who's getting really well known for his practice area. And then we do family law, Jackie Moss and Wendy. Jackie is our fantastic associate, a young man from Battle Creek.
Amazing.
Really good young man. He's no like spring greenhorn. He's been practicing for over 10 years, but good guy. And that's kind of what we do, man.
Yeah, the best of the best. Yeah, Wendy, I was part of a group text feed last week. I had no idea what your wife was talking about, and I graciously responded as if I knew what she was talking about. And then she realized, well, wait a minute. I didn't mean to text Todd and Rachel. Were you on that feed? I think she was trying to text one of her family.
I don't think so.
Yeah, she sent Rachel and I a text about something to do with the family law thing she was doing, and I'm thinking, okay, this makes no sense. It must be meant for somebody else. And I just responded like I knew what she was talking about. She goes, oh, no, I didn't mean to text you guys. But let's talk about, we got
to take a break.
Uh-oh.
Let's take a break. We got to take a break. Then we'll come back with Mike the Nick Nichols. Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show, the post-Thanksgiving edition with you two turning it and burning it. And Mike the Nick Nichols is in the house. Mr. Nichols, I have to ask you the same question I asked Todd here in the beginning of the last segment. What's your, you probably had a Thanksgiving dinner this past weekend sometime. What's your least favorite Thanksgiving side dish?
Least favorite Thanksgiving side dish.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I had someone bring just a bowl of relish to the table.
Relish?
A bowl of relish?
It's a side dish. It's a side. Is relish a condiment or a side dish? That sparked the great debate of Thanksgiving 2016.
I would say it's condiment.
Condiment.
For some, it's a condiment. For others, it's a tasty side dish.
How about greenie? How about greenie? We love greenie for Marine, once Marine, always Marine up there, and we're Tawas area, right?
Yes, Jay Green. I don't know if I'll get to see Jay because
big
I
shout
don't
out
think
to
we're
Jay
going to go
Green.
up north.
We love you, Jay. Thank you for your service.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your service, Jay. I don't think I'll get to see the man or his lovely bride, Laurel, at the Triple L Ranch, where they put on a fantastic charity called Palomino Promise. Basically helps kids with horse therapy.
Oh, okay.
Really, really good folks.
Yeah, that works too. That works.
I think so.
Any big law cases this past week that the audience might be interested in hearing about? You always have interesting things going on.
You know, I don't know if people have been following the national trials, but I've followed those, and I've also followed. There's a United States Supreme Court case that is interesting to me. It may not be interesting to other people, but it could really, really make a big difference in cases where there is an analyst who does, you know, a scientific analysis of human blood or skin or trace evidence, and whether or not that analyst has to be present if a surrogate testifies in court to give an expert opinion. That could be a big case because, you know, a lot of the time if the blood alcohol analysis or the person who analyzed blood and said there's marijuana here or not or how much, if that person doesn't come to court physically, that testimony doesn't come in. So if it's helpful for the government, they got to get their witness there. That's called your right of confrontation. So that's a big case to watch. I know it's boring, and I know I just spent 30 seconds boring everybody.
It's not boring. If
Smith versus Arizona, keep an eye on it.
Smith versus if the government is utilizing evidence to prosecute an individual, you have a right to confront your accuser and accusers. Everybody should be present in the courtroom, so that an attorney such as yourself can cross-examine that individual as to how they reached that analysis.
Or if Craig Russell were representing himself, so Craig Russell could conduct the searing cross-examination.
I'm sorry, what?
What? Have you ever filed a motion to compel discovery, Mike?
I have. Yes, I have.
Talk a little bit about when that takes place. I think the audience
so
might
the
be interested
concept
in that.
So the concept here is I've contemplated it on this case I was telling you about in Isabella County. That's why I was in Mount Pleasant today. There was no body-worn camera, dash camera, nothing from the Mount Pleasant Police Department. This is a drunk driving case where the officer claims his cause to stop the driver, who turned out to be my client, a citizen, just like you, just like me, just like any of our listeners. We all have the right to be free of unreasonable police intrusions into our life. And so I read the police report and I say, okay, so he's claiming that there was weaving within the lane, which is subjective, right? I mean, one man's weave is another woman's straight line vector down the roadway. And I said, well, let's get the video. So I email the prosecutor and say, hey, there's got to be video. It's Mount Pleasant PD. Nope, they don't have video. There usually are not videos for Mount Pleasant PD cases. Huh. Okay. And we got a really good plea offer, and it was an offer that was too good to refuse. Absent that, I would have been probably filing a motion to ask the district court judge to order that they had to compel discovery. In other words, turn over to Mr. Nichols and his client video. And if you don't, then I'm going to infer and tell the jury that they can infer that the lack of video is disfavorable to the government in its prosecution.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Now, just let's take the prosecutor's side. There's nothing in the law that requires law enforcement agencies to have on-car cameras or body cams. Am I correct or incorrect?
In the state of Michigan at this point in time, there is no law. Other states, Todd, there is a law that if you do not have body-worn camera or dash camera of a traffic stop, the case is dismissed.
I can tell you this, and you know this because we work together on a lot of cases. You are my go-to lawyer other than Jeff Reddick. By the way, it was his anniversary last week on Practicing Law. We love Jeff Reddick.
Happy Annie.
A GKR baby originally from Livonia, Michigan, and then he went down. He was a Bronco after that, Western Michigan. But you know, the point being is the last few cases that I've been able to file motions on, there was a discrepancy between the police interpretation on paper versus the body cam or car video audio. So the written report and the interpretation by the officer is one thing, but video doesn't lie, and we know that.
That's
and so
right.
I was able to, and we're not going to talk about the case right now because we're just not going to name the name, but we were able to file a motion. You assisted me and had some success, and there were 2 cases back to back. But the other thing is, tell me if I'm correct or incorrect. If an officer is in hot pursuit and they have yet to turn on their lights and they do have cameras, does one not trigger the other? Meaning, if an officer is following Craig Russell, we're always picking on Craig, and Craig is at a high rate of speed and there's a chase, and once the officer turns on his or her lights, is that when the video goes on if they have in-car video, or are they able to activate that sooner?
That's a software function, and it's typically it correlates with the activation of the overhead lights.
But that's
and
a problem.
So once the lights are activated, you'll get like 30 seconds prior to the activation of those lights. However, the officer can, in almost every agency that's got dash camera, can override that and just hit a switch that says camera record.
Because typically when I observe dash cams or body cams, it's never when the officer observes the car swerving or running a stop sign or rolled a stop sign, or did a wide turn. The camera's never on at that point. And I'm not knocking law enforcement. Listen, we both have a lot of dear friends, all 3 of us in law enforcement. We love you, we support you, but we are defense attorneys, so we're talking about constitutional rights and what the law is or is not. The fact of the matter is that, right, Mike? I mean, that's an issue with.
Yep.
Sorry, Craig. It's an issue as a defense attorney that you get these police reports and it says, "Yeah, I observed the individual do a wide turn or this or that," but it's never caught on camera because the lights are never on and the camera doesn't trigger until the lights go on, and that's when the stop takes place, not the pursuit.
Right.
Well, now I have a question.
So the question, go ahead, Craig. Yes.
Well, because, and I can bring this into what I know in the radio business. Most radio stations have to have a constant recording of what's going on in case of someone claiming that we said something or didn't say something. And usually it's on a computer in the background, and it just runs constantly. It just records at the station all day long, 24 hours a day. So in case you go on the air and you say something and somebody calls up and says, that guy said something wrong or slandered me or whatever, you can go back and review it and say, no, he didn't, or yes, he did. You're right. I can't believe that the technology with what it is today, they just don't have dash cams that are just on 24/7, just always recording for that very situation. Why is that?
That also protects the officer as well because,
yeah,
it protects the officer. But that's a good question, Craig. Mike, how would you answer that?
I think a big part of it, Craig, is you have to store that video. And so there's got to be some effort to limit the inventory, so to speak, because it's expensive to store all that video. I know that from talking to a lot of police chiefs and assistant chiefs and sheriffs, that's a legitimate concern that I give that credibility. I believe that. But you would think that, hey, anytime you're on the job on your shift from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or vice versa, have that camera rolling, baby.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's just not really pragmatic by any stretch, nor is it's not really fair, I don't think, to an officer who, maybe wants to take a 45-minute lunch break and, go have dinner with the wife and kids, maybe
and
smoke a little crack. And I'm just kidding. But have some personal time.
Wow, that turned that took a left turn.
Sort of six in a hurry, didn't it? Yeah.
That took a left turn.
I know you mentioned Central Michigan, Mount Pleasant City Police Department. They do a great job. I have a lot of friends who are on the city PD at the university. My buddy, Detective Morrow, and Scott Malloy. I got so many friends that are deputies, chief, that do such a great job. Sheriff Maine does a great job. Tribal police. I got a lot of friends everywhere. Sheriff's Department. But the troopers, all the troopers out there today, working the ditch, keeping us safe during this busy travel season. If you see an officer on the side of the road, pull over, slow down.
Yeah.
Especially construction zone. Obviously it's the holiday weekend, but there's a lot of construction around the country. But keep those troops safe. They want to go home to their families. They're our mothers or our fathers or our brothers. I've had a lot of friends that are now retired because I'm old that were troopers for, 25, 30 years. So just a big shout out and much love to everybody that keeps us safe. That's all. I mean, we are defense attorneys.
Yeah,
we're going to do our
agree.
job, but it doesn't look, end of the day, we're like the cartoon. We're going to shake hands, but we're going to advocate, litigate, and fight like heck for the constitutional rights of our clients.
That's right.
You
Right,
mean
we're
the
just doing our job.
sheepdog? You mean the sheepdog and the
Yeah,
sheep.
the sheepdog.
Yep. Sam and whatever the sheepdog. It's Wile E. Coyote and the
Yeah, I
sheepdog. Yep,
love that,
exactly.
yeah.
Attorney Mike Nichols, Craig, can you give out his number before we go to break real quick?
Yeah, Mike, give out your number.
Oh, I've got to do it now?
Yeah, you've
Okay,
got to do
it's,
your number.
Your number.
517-432-9000. 517-432-9000.
Best legal representation, family law, personal injury, criminal defense, drunk driving. Call Mike Nichols.
We got to take a break on the Todd L. Levitt Law Show, but we'll be right back to wrap the show up next.
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Happy post-Thanksgiving Day to you, Craig Russell, and you, Mike Nichols, our family, our friends, and everybody listening to the show on planet Earth, Third Rock from the Sun. Come back strong with you two, Two Hearts, whatever is one. I'm talking fast because Mike has an important case to talk about, and we're running out of time, so go ahead, Mike.
So there's a case, People versus Armstrong, and it says, the Court of Appeals says that the odor of burnt marijuana observed by the officer during a traffic stop from within a vehicle, that is no longer the singular observation that can support ordering everybody out of a car and then conducting a search of the entire vehicle. It used to be under a case called Kazmarek that you could order everybody out of the car, search the entire vehicle, if you testified and the judge believed it, that you smelled marijuana, burnt marijuana, that was enough, standing on its own. And the Court of Appeals wrote a great published opinion talking about the change in our law in 2018, the MRTMA, the Recreational and Taxation of Marijuana Act. You can't simply, as a police officer, say, oh, that's enough, everybody out of the car, I'm going to search. The fruits of that search would be and should be suppressed. Now, what's important about that is
the prosecutors. Sorry, is it retro?
Well, I would argue yes, if a case was either pending, in other words, you hadn't taken it to trial or had a sentencing, or you were up on appeal, on a claim of appeal, or seeking leave to appeal. So the answer to the question is can be. I think it should be under some other precedent. But so the Supreme Court is considering whether to grant leave to the prosecutors. I'm asking some groups that I belong to allow me to write what's called a friend of the court, or amicus, A-M-I-C-U-S, amicus, an amicus brief.
Amicus brief.
And because I have so much free freaking time on my hands. So that's
You're the smartest
where that
man
case
I know.
stands, man. It's a big case.
That's huge.
Gentlemen. It is a big
we
case.
need more time to talk about that in the next. Mike, you'll be on. You're a regular on the Todd Levitt Law Show with Craig Russell and Muscle Hustle. You'll definitely be back on the show in a couple weeks
Love
to
to
talk
be on the
more
show.
about that. You're always on the
Love
show.
it.
Even when you're not on the show, we talk about you. Hey, big shout out to Biker Bob. We love you. You'll be on soon. Little John.
Hey!
Everybody out there, a happy post-Thanksgiving. Go Blue. And, yeah, that's it. We got to go.
Show's over. Let's go.
Show's over. I'm not just a litigator. I'm an advocator. Hire local lawyers. Keep your money in local communities. We're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time, Craig. Take us out with not just me, but you too.
Todd L. Levitt Law Show, brought to you by Clark Modular Homes of Mount Pleasant, Rusty Gold Antiques in Everett, Chad Malley Well Drilling of Rosebush, Clear Vision Windows, Siding and Roofing of Midland, and attorney Todd L. Levitt.
Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.